All right, let's get right into it. So, for 60 straight days, one person decided to completely ditch their daily shower and instead commit to a traditional Japanese bath ritual every single night. The big question was, what would actually change? Today, we're going to break down that whole 60-day journey, the super strict rules, the mindset shift, and the really surprising data that came out of it.
And this quote right here, it really gets to the core of the whole thing. The experiment kicked off with a ton of skepticism, a mindset that, let's be honest, most of us can probably relate to. A bath every night? It sounds like a total luxury, maybe even a little inefficient. But that first impression was about to get completely flipped on its head. So yeah, this is the central question we're exploring. And it's not just about getting clean, not at all. It's about this massive shift in your nightly routine and what that can do for your mind, your stress levels, and maybe most importantly, your sleep. Now, you have to understand, the person doing this experiment came from a pretty typical Western background, where efficiency is everything. The whole idea of spending 25-30 minutes on a bath every single night felt, as they put it, kinda ridiculous. This is the story of how that mindset totally changed. And this slide just nails the fundamental difference in philosophy. For most of us, a bath or a shower is purely functional, right? It's about hygiene. You get in, you wash up, you get out. But in Japan, the bath is seen as a form of therapy. The goal isn't to wash the dirt off your body, it's to wash the stress of the day out of your mind. It's a total paradigm shift. But here's the thing, this wasn't just about lazing around in a tub of hot water. The Japanese ofuro has a very specific set of rules. And these rules aren't just, tradition for tradition's sake, they're actually grounded in human biology. So, let's define what we're talking about, an ofuro. And here is the single most important point, the one that blows most people's minds. It is not for cleaning. You have to be completely 100% clean before you even think about stepping into the tub. This is why entire families in Japan can use the same bathwater. It's for soaking, not for scrubbing. These are the 3 core non-negotiable steps. First, you take a quick but thorough shower, get totally clean. Second, you set the mood. You prepare the environment to signal to your brain, hey, it's time to wind down. No harsh, bright bathroom lights. And third, and this is key, you just soak. You don't scrub, you don't play on your phone, you don't do anything. You just sit still and let the warmth do its thing. And the details here are really precise for a reason. Take the temperature. It has to be between 38 and 40 degrees Celsius or 100 to 104 Fahrenheit. Why? Because if you go any hotter, you actually trigger a stress response in your body, which totally defeats the purpose. The duration, 15 to 20 minutes, that's the sweet spot to raise your core body temp without getting exhausted. And then there's the hardest rule for most of us, 0 distractions. No phone, this is absolutely mandatory for the mental reset to happen. So, with all those rules in place, what actually happened inside the experimenter's head? Well, the first week was apparently a total battle. A fight against that urge to be productive, to check email, to do something. But then something started to shift. This slide just perfectly captures that internal journey. In week 1, the mind was just chaos. Racing thoughts, anxiety, boredom, and that constant nagging feeling. This is such a monumental waste of time. But then, somewhere in week 2, something clicked. The mental chatter started to quiet down. The body literally started unclenching from the day's tension. The bath went from being a chore to being an essential anchor in the day. And here's the cool part, the science behind that feeling. This isn't just some placebo effect. That specific warm temperature causes something called vasodilation. Your blood vessels actually expand. This, in turn, lowers your blood pressure and heart rate, which pushes your body into its parasympathetic nervous system state. Scientists call this rest and digest mode. Then, when you get out of the tub, the rapid drop in your core body temperature acts as a powerful biological signal to your brain that it's time to go to sleep. Okay, so the feeling changed, and the biology makes perfect sense. But what did the hard data actually say? Well, after 60 days of tracking everything, the results were pretty staggering. This is where the experiment goes from being just a nice idea to a powerful evidence-based habit. First up, a 43% improvement in sleep quality as measured by a tracking device. Let that sink in for a second. 43%. That is not a small number. That's a massive leap in how much restorative rest you're getting, night after night. And what about this? the time it took to actually fall asleep, it plummeted from an average of about 40 minutes all the way down to just 12. Think about that. That's almost half an hour of tossing and turning just gone, wiped out, every single night. And finally, the stress hormone itself, cortisol. This chart shows evening cortisol levels, which you want to be nice and low before bed. Before the experiment, you can see they were consistently high. But after 60 days of this ritual, they were significantly and consistently lower. The bath was actively lowering physiological stress in the body. But beyond all the charts and numbers, this quote really says it all. The data is one thing, but that subjective feeling, going from being wired, anxious, with a racing mind, to feeling calm, grounded, and actually ready for rest, that's the real transformation. It's about changing your entire state before your head even hits the pillow. So the big question is, how can you try this yourself? Well, the key is to start small. Forget 60 days for now. Just think about a simple 7-day challenge, just 1 week, to see if this ritual can make a real difference for you. Now, let's just tackle the 2 biggest objections right out of the gate, because I know you're thinking them. First, time. I don't have time. Look, it's about 25 minutes total, but how does that compare to the 40 minutes you might spend doom scrolling on your phone or just lying awake in bed? It's an investment, not a cost. Second, water. A quick 2-minute pre-shower plus the bath actually uses about the same amount of water as one long 15-minute shower, so it's probably not as wasteful as you think. And hey, if you do try this, here are the top 3 mistakes to avoid, learned the hard way during the experiment. Number 1, don't make the water scalding hot. Remember, warm is relaxing, hot is stressful. Number 2, absolutely do not bring your phone. It completely torpedoes the mental benefit. And number 3, don't skip the pre-shower. You gotta remember, this is a ritual, not a cleaning session. The bottom line is this. The ofuro isn't just some quaint cultural tradition that stuck around. It has persisted for centuries for one simple reason. It is a highly effective, biologically driven tool for managing stress and radically improving sleep. It just works. Which really brings us to the final question. After seeing the philosophy, the science, and the data, are you willing to invest about 25 minutes a night for just 1 week to see what it could do for you? It might just completely change your relationship with sleep.